Good morning, die-harders. Who's ready to live free or die hard? This is the S&W EXPerience, and I am the Shogun. And here we go.
Who has thoughts on today's episode is there's kind of a consensus about, like, everyone says that they think their enjoyment of it was slightly disturbed by the expectation of Daredevil.
Really?
So there's that.
That's...
Yeah, there's that. I mean, so it was a setup, so we all thought, okay, cool day. But I don't know. I don't really care so much about Daredevil. Like, I didn't really care about him showing up as that being a plot point, because it is a She-Hulk show, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna write it for sure because I can't appear, but I just think they're definitely having some trouble, and not a lot, just some, like finding their footing on where each episode is gonna go and how much plot they dedicate to certain threads. Like, for example, the Bruce, you know, plot point, which isn't which I think at this point it isn't really a plot point so much as it is them having to exit Mark Ruffalo because jazz expensive and to, I guess, scheduling.
Or the, like, hey, we need to set up the next Hulk movie somehow. But, like,
Exactly.
yeah.
So even with that, you know, what, 12 seconds to that, you know, he's still not, he's not answering his phone. But I just think it's trying to do too many things, a balance. You know, like Ally McBeal or another, you know, like a law procedural with comedy and, you know, not really drama, but mostly comedy, some romantic points.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you gotta remember this isn't Ally McBeal, you know, it's She-Hulk. And I think it's very hard to make a She-Hulk if there's not a lot to work with and a budget, a limited budget.
Yeah.
And of course, obviously these shows, you know, he sets aside $20 million for Marvel for these shows. So, I mean, 200, not 20, 200. So, you know, like, I think, yeah, there's definitely a limitation that they've had to work around. And of course, that limitation would stretch into the content of the episodes regarding what character you put, what character do you put more precedent over another. But I think the result is usually a hit or just a smooth, resounding, not too harmful miss. Right?
Yeah.
And I think that's mostly like this week and last week. But also last week was a bit weird as well, because a lot of the comedy ended, you know, with the whole Madison Wong, that dynamic. But I think this week it wasn't much for us to sink our teeth in. So it's kind of, yeah, it's like a filler episode, but not really, since it does set up something. But it's mostly filler. And I think that's where the issue of the show kind of comes into play. What do you do when filler needs to be filled?
What do you do when you have 6 episodes to fill, but your story only covers 5? Yeah.
And of course, it will really kick in the later episodes, obviously. But at the same time, I think they want to... I think what they're doing is they're walking a tightrope to where they're trying to figure out how much action versus how much slice of life. Because you could easily show, 9 episodes of action. You can. But with that, there's still the issue of like oversaturation with just the amount of action going. And of course, action is expensive. Set pieces are expensive. So obviously, She-Hulk lacks that. Like, it lacks the Marvel Studios movie budget and ability to do. So I think they kind of laid it loose with it. Have some pretty massive, have some pretty action heavy. I definitely think the one with Daredevil, seeing as it is Daredevil and a lot of action scenes in She-Hulk. So I think that's what we do. But what we're left with is palatable, I guess.
Yeah. It's definitely, I mean, I've been enjoying the fuck out of it. I don't, in all honesty, I don't know what show you've been watching, but I've been having a blast watching it, though. I do get there are those concerns, and yes, there are moments where the jokes don't quite land, and, but otherwise, I've been enjoying the She-Hulk show, and weirdly enough, I felt kind of bad for Abomination, like when Emil was in that cell breaking down, like, I was brought in to take down a threat, and like nowadays that threat is being praised as a hero, and I'm stuck in here, like the bad guy. I thought I was gonna be the next Captain America, where's the justice in that? And you kind of feel bad for the dude, man, like, damn, dog, I mean, he's right. I mean, he's the villain, but he's right,
He is, but he's off right. And I only realized reading into like Reddit threads and episode breakdowns. While it might be true, recruited and whatnot, he was a hero. That part is true, but the actual fight, breaking Harlem fight, that was not government sanctioned, nor was he supposed to be there, and it was pretty much like a Dix. It was, you're gonna show up, come out wherever you are. So that part, and of course, I don't. The public knows that, and I don't. A large part of the public is familiar with the fact that and it was essentially a street fight.
Yeah. I mean, all they know is that, Abomination showed up, Hulk showed up, and they fought. No one knows why.
Yeah, so for all intents and purposes, it was them battling. And of course, now whatever. It's Squad or whatever, capture Hulk. But obviously, a lot of Jen is purely stringent, knowing the true kind of backstory that he was just there to fight Hulk. He lost already, he was just there for a grudge match. So a lot of that was just him as a volition and not the government's fault. It wasn't even the government's fault. It was turned into, because they just gave him a regular step. They just gave him the enhancements. I mean, I don't think what he initially got, the Super Soldier Serum, like the original one,
No, it was blue, like the thing,
Yeah. See, the thing is, we're led to believe that the best Super Soldier Serum ever made was Dr. Erskine's. Like, in Falcon and Winter Soldier, we're just led to believe that every serum that has come afterwards, besides Hulk's, being a derivative of the SS serum, they're not as potent, nor are they as effective as the original one. That's what we're the entire universe. So, obviously, he did get a serum. It wasn't a Steve level serum, but it was a serum. But that's the only thing the government did. So he was that Captain America. But also, it's quite funny to me, the government would think that the Captain America range fighter would take out the Hulk which is quite dumb. So, I mean, this is the literal government, and not only that, but it's the faction of the government that was responsible for turning Steve into a super soldier. So I don't know why they would then think that just a regular super soldier would be good enough. I don't know. I don't understand what their thinking was. I guess they didn't really understand the true strength of the Hulk. But it's kind of a dumb thing to do anyway. But yeah, Jen obviously knows the one part, that he was a government recruitee, and he thought it was just not even serving his country, because he's not even from America. It's a Russian born in the UK. Weird. But he was just serving. That was pretty much the gist of it. He thought that he was led to into something more, essentially. That's literally, what the Avengers came together for,
Yeah.
The idea being tools who could do the things we can't. It could be more, and I will concede that maybe he thought it would be him as a hero, because obviously Hulk, in the media content, he was painted as a villain and whatnot. So I do think initially he was going to be like the hero, to be the Hulk, but the actual problem with that entire thing, the thing that led to him being killed, was the street fight in Hard. So he's kind of he's a half-truth in this. But yeah, no, definitely, in fact, every episode up until has been quite great, it had something, episodes have had something for everyone. They're not fun, they're not scared to go, I guess, the little, art depicts life, these very real men and whatnot, who I guess hate She-Hulk for some reason. They're not afraid of that. They're not afraid to go there. They're not afraid to go into like deep-seated issues women deal.
Yeah.
But I would say personally, today's episode was the best. But it's not to say it's a bad episode. It's not a bad episode. But it is the weak in terms of just, I guess, carrying the show to its finish line. It doesn't do much. But it didn't do much. So, yeah. I think that's where I mostly stand with it. If I would have rated, I would say maybe like, it was a good 7 out of 10,
Yeah.
It's a good 7.
Okay.
Not a bad episode.
In contrast to like the other shows, like on a scale of Falcon and Winter Soldier all the way to Moon Knight, how would you rate this? Where would you stack it? Like She-Hulk so far as a show.
Well, see, with She-Hulk, biggest issue is that it hasn't ended. So I can't up everything up completely just yet.
Yeah.
However, since we're on episode 6, right? What we can do is that we can measure this show, other Disney plus Marvel, up to episode 6. So you do is kind of look at every show leading up to this 6th episode, and then through that kind of scale thing. Because most of these shows, again, they did pick up to, and that's exactly what's happening with She-Hulk.
Yeah.
So it'll have to be a waiting game to rate the entire thing. But compared to other episodes, the thing is, I don't remember those shows were short. That the episode numberings kind of they're definitely lost upon me.
Not to mention a lot of those shows came out over like a year ago, man. So it's like
exactly busy. But let me just see. Comparing Moon Knight's episode 6, which is again first episode. Obviously, so far, Moon is objectively better. Show actually managed to end in 6 episodes, and it ended in a neat way. You know.
Yeah.
So Moon Knight is still better because it ended. And it was also 6 episodes. So you can't really rate that one. I would say it's probably equal to maybe Falcon.
Really?
You see, it's tough because all these shows had these other thematic elements, and they had kind of grander, implications for the universe. But with shows that are like grounded, very hard to compare, like the same number. But okay, if you compare episode 6 of this, I'm just gonna search it up. Episode 6 was the one where they're back in America, I think.
And they're like, working on the dude's like shrimp boat and shit like that. Man, I hated that, dude. Just looking back, dude, I hated that. It's like, dude, the fucking flag smashers are still out there, still causing chaos, and y'all are fucking around fixing a shrimp boat. Like, what are you doing? The fuck, man?
So you see, even Falcon was so Falcon, even Falcon, we had that last episode and that action. Maybe you see, because also most of these shows didn't have that filler because they had to finish quickly.
Yeah.
But She-Hulk has filler because it has like 8 episodes, not 6. So it's weird because all these other shows have just like 6 episodes. Falcon has 6, Hawkeye has 6. I think even Wandavision has 6.
Yeah, they
so
did.
You can't
even Loki. Even Loki had 6 episodes. Yeah.
Oh, Wanda had 9. Okay.
9.
So WandaVision's episode 6 was the Halloween one. Yeah, you see. So it's kind of like WandaVision episode 6.
Yeah.
Wait, it's some event happening.
Yeah, with Pietro. Yeah.
Exactly. So everything culminated around 7, 8, leading into 9. But 6 for WandaVision was also pretty tame and pretty it wasn't like groundbreaking with the universe's sake.
It was.
So I would put them next to WandaVision at 6.
Yeah, I'd definitely put this up there with that. Because thing is with the final episodes or like the 6 episodes of those other shows, to me it was like, okay, the episode is over, but it left you wanting more. Like with Moon Knight, okay, the story is finished, but then we got that bit at the end with Jake Lockley, and it's like, holy shit, what's next? And
like season 2.
Yeah.
In the MCU movie, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So it's definitely up there with WandaVision, but it's not quite up there with Moon Knight because, there isn't that feeling of like, well, okay, that's the end of the episode. Like, what's next? Okay, you want to know what's next, yeah.
But like, because with this, the episode ended, and of course it's Intelligentsia, the group and what. But even so, it's still so ambiguous because, you know, you have there's no hint at a group head, like the leader potentially. You know, there's some pretty obscure characters in the comics that are like in Intelligentsia. I mean, I think it's been confirmed. Yes, it had his mode in Ant-Man. Of course, he's also in the team. So I don't know if they mean to set up a group that will see cinematic scale, because Intelligentsia probably, and not even probably, they are worth a cinematic showing, because you have people lead MODOK, who's this Egghead, you know. So
Egghead.
Yeah, he's a serial character. It's pretty funny. I learned about him in this video.
Isn't he a DC guy?
Yeah, it's from what's his thing? It's from the Weekly Planet. You remember those guys, Jason Mason?
Damn, that's pretty fucking obscure, man. Like,
so long ago, like 2018 or maybe 2018, and episode. I think because the movie was gonna come. Ant-Man and the Wasp, so 2018, and they were doing an episode of this Ant-Man villain from the comics called It. He has an egg-shaped head, and he's not smart. He's not like Tony smart, but he's smart enough to be in the group.
Huh. Yeah, I see him. Dude was in Ant-Man and the Wasp. Like, that's so weird, though. I mean,
I don't think they actually like named whatnot.
Yeah, I mean that.
But yeah.
Yeah.
So see, and that's the thing. So this group is like the antithesis of the Illuminati, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So like there's no mention of them, or if one of the key players of the group is a major character. Because again, like there's a lot of like major players. Like I think even the Vulture is like part of the group. But what I'm afraid of right now is that I don't want them to have the group in the show and then two things. One, do nothing. And two, none of its original members are. So that's one thing I'm kind of like happy of, to be like, well,
you don't want them to pull a Thunderbolts on you again?
Yeah, because like, what's the point? Because, and again, we've already discussed this, looking at them come, but I mean, clearly Emil is going to be in the team, right? Because why would you show him Shang-Chi and She-Hulk if he's not going to be in the... It makes no... It makes sense to reintroduce to just be nowhere. Because even like, you know, obviously they're setting up Hulk and whatnot. But Abomination doesn't really take part in that many modern day Hulk stories. So it's not like he's going to be part of Hulk. Fuck that. He's clearly going to be in maybe a Thunderbolts or Dark Avengers or something. But yeah, they're very like kind of coy with what they're trying to do. They're playing it close to chest.
Yeah. And we haven't really like heard anything from Tim Roth. He hasn't come forward to be like, oh yeah, I'm doing Thunderbolts or nothing. So we don't know. Yeah. Though to be honest, we didn't even know Abomination was gonna be in Shang-Chi until that second trailer dropped. So
yeah, and even when we saw it, it was like, wait, what? Because I'm sure everyone was like, that's, but it's not. No, it's not really.
Yeah.
And you see him and you're like, what's he doing here?
Exactly.
It's like, it's so random. There's no... Yeah, like
there's no comic connection between Shang-Chi and the Abomination. The prevailing sense was like, why is he here?
Emil and Macau. Emil, like nothing.
Like Emil and Wong, just... Like, how did...
Wong, like, clearly he's here for something.
Yeah, we knew that much.
I personally, I just don't understand how a team full of only super soldiers, and not even a couple, a team full of super soldiers and regular human.
Except Ghost.
It doesn't scream able to me. Yeah, but does Ghost have super strength? So
I mean, she could phase through shit, so she could turn invisible. No.
So she can basically pull it, and she can walk through walls, fall through floors. She's like Kitty Pryde, but evil or something. So it's just, I don't see what you could do to someone like the Hulk. That's my problem. Like the Thunderbolts is not even like usually, but most of the time there's some formidable people there, and then maybe there's like a Zemo. But even Zemo in a team, I mean, I get it. Zemo's in a Wakandan prison, I understand. But why bring him back on to be the leader of the Thunderbolts? I can't negotiate with the Wakandans, I mean, clearly there had to have been some negotiation over, like vision, because it is vibranium, and two, there had to have been some communication from the states to Wakanda for them to even commission this outfit. Just down to the measurement. So at the same time, like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's definitely gonna require some explaining. Just.
Does Sam even care about Zemo? Ask him to be released?
No, it was.
Because Sam is a caring person. And it has to be that humans deserve second chances. But why wouldn't he, fight for his release or something?
I mean,
it just doesn't really make sense.
No, but mainly from what I saw on like Falcon and Winter Soldier, it was mostly Bucky who had to do with Zemo, and he was the guy who was talking to the chick. I can't remember her name, but like she was one of the Wakandan warriors. Like he was tight with her, so it makes sense that he would talk to on like Zemo's behalf. So yeah,
because he's on the team.
Yeah.
So it's so confusing why you snub out the other. Because Guardian, please. One, I don't know, you would active. Two, what's the point? Like, I thought the Red Guardian was like, I thought, one and done, he's here. But I didn't expect him in like a movie. Because like, it's David Harbour. He's coming up there. I wouldn't expect him to sign a multi-year deal, but I guess he did. And I guess he's going to be the Red Guardian. So that's thing, to say the least. But yeah, just such a deep cut. Recruit him, leave Blonsky. But maybe the movie is set in a time before Blonsky's release, and it coincides with the She-Hulk series, and then he's released, and then he's a team member.
Yeah.
So potentially the beginning of the movie starts with the already assembled team, or maybe they will assemble it, but it will be missing. I don't know.
And we don't need another Suicide Squad, man. We've already got 2 of those.
And you see, the thing is, it's very hard to say that they're surprising us, right? Because we've already seen the character. Not like we've never seen him. There'd be no point to surprise us now with his appearance in this movie, because we have seen him. So it's not like we're going to jump up in the air when we do see him, because he's like, I've already seen him. So even that, on me. So yeah, I honestly can't explain why they did not show in the and just him as a member in general. I literally can't, you know.
Though my question being, why is Yelena here? Like, you think she would have beef with Contessa Von whatever after she lied about, like, Clint and them. So, why is she on this team?
That was my issue with Yelena, because I just said, Yelena's pretty dumb. She's kind of dumb for the things she believes handedly without just her subservient nature. Why would you, Adam, even think work for this lady and or be hired by her? And then to make it worse, she lied to you your time. You know, you had to go all the way to America to potentially kill a guy, and even a guy you were supposed to kill. So, I guess she still works under her. I mean, she was the first person she contacted. But, I don't know, I guess she's a good tactician, you know, something.
Yeah, I mean, you could say the same about Zemo. He's also just a human, but like, you know.
But everyone. You see, the thing is, in the comic, Thunderbolt Zemo is an actual leader, you know. He's a leader just purely in the dictational sense. Comics, he's like the leader. He's Nick Fury and Steve Rogers. So I guess they want to make her the leader, even in like the art, she's standing in the front. You know, so I guess she's a leader. She's taking Zemo's place, which doesn't really make any sense, but I don't know. But like, the strongest guy there is potentially, I would say, it's quite close, but I would say whatever the character, I would say Rick Guardian is slightly stronger than. I think I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah, he's definitely up there with the rest of them. You know, he's definitely the strongest guy on that team. Not even just like looking at him, but like, you know, you can see, okay, this dude was already a big dude, and then he got the serum, so yeah.
And that plays a part as well.
Yeah.
Because the serum, it doesn't put you to a specific strength level. Like, it doesn't say that you're a guy. Okay, let's take a person like Umvelo, right? Umvelo, and you compare him to, who was that really skinny white guy? He's very eccentric, very weird.
Wait, Justin?
Is that who it was? I don't know. And Umvelo, right? You give them the Super Soldier Serum. Steve's one, right? Let's just say Steve's on the end. You give them Steve's serum. They're not going to shoot up to the same level of strength. Like, I don't think there's like a set measurement of the serum. Like, this serum put at, X amount of strong. I think what the serum does, it enhances you to a specific percentage of your current abilities. And the only reason why Steve got serum is that as weak as he was, it added so much. Like, Steve is objectively from a super soldier, not because of his willpower. He's this and he's this, but he literally got like the. But you take a person like, I don't know, Bucky, right? Bucky got but it wasn't Erskine's. It was who's this? It was Zola.
Zola.
Zola's wasn't as good. He does have it, you know. He can punch with his normal human arm quite well as a super soldier, but he has a metal arm, so he kind of relied on the arm. But Bucky's serum is different. You all know that. So I think what this one does with a big percentage, I don't know, 1,000% or something like that. But again, what that means is that everyone's 1,000% stronger, right? Because what that number is increasing from your base. It doesn't start from zero, you know. It's a Super Saiyan power up.
Yeah.
Person like, so you take Goku and Super Saiyan at a power level of 3 million, right? Putting him at around 150 in his transformation and fighter freeze on damage. Now Vegeta went from a base power of 4 million. So his power was by 50. And then obviously through that, he was a stronger Super Saiyan. Goku was when he became Super Saiyan, because Vegeta's power level would be 200 million, not 150. So that's exactly what the serum is. The serum increased you by a big unit, and it's that unit at current level of strength. Like I do think Lexi is definitely the given that he was probably very happy, you know, because he's very similar to like Kingpin's, not as fat as Kingpin.
Yeah.
But he had that build and that strength of Rocky Man, that height. Because even, you know, essentially he's unharmed, he's that strong, which is something about a regular human who's just big.
Yeah, it definitely does. Yeah.
He's different.
Plus, you brought up the like when guys go Super Saiyan and how it compares to Superman. It actually matches up pretty well, because when Vegeta goes Super Saiyan, it's not exactly the same as when Goku does it, and when Trunks goes Super Saiyan, it's not the same as Vegeta's. Like, there's that second form, like before you go Super Saiyan 2, where he's all bulky and shit. Like, yeah, like Goku didn't go through that. He just, you know, jumped straight to Super Saiyan 2, but Vegeta and Trunks, they had that bulkier form. So, yeah, it shows that even though you have the same transformation, you don't get the same results. Yeah.
Exactly. Different strength levels. So, I don't know.
But there's one... Yeah. There's one thing that bugged me about Trunks, though. When he came back in Dragon Ball Super, yeah. When he came back... Yeah. When he came back, it bugged me that, dude, all these years after the Cell Saga, you know, all these years after the androids and everything, and he is still... hasn't even cracked Super Saiyan 2 yet. Are you fucking joking? What have you been doing, man?
Because I think these younger Saiyans, right? They were always, you know, like, ordered to be these genetically gifted Saiyans, these Saiyans, since they're like mixed, you know, human and Saiyan, they have potential for power to go on. So it doesn't really make how Trunks got so stagnated, given his Saiyan. Like, while everyone else moved to, you know, Super Saiyan Blue, Trunks was amazed by Super Saiyan 2 and Super Saiyan 3. In fact, Super Saiyan 3, his jaw drop, he was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, just... like, dude, you're from the future, man. You should be beyond this by now. Fucking Gohan reached that, man. Shit. Oh, shit.
It's definitely weird. I think only one thing about that future Trunks makes sense, being that what it is Trunks. It's a Trunks, right? It's not the Trunks you remember, but it's Trunks 7 years into the future, and it had no time to keep up with his training. So essentially, he's like Gohanized, if that's a word, in a sense that he looks skinny, even Gohan, and he got skinny.
Yeah.
But Trunks was like 7 years, and he had no training facilities. He had no one to really train him anymore because Gohan died in the future timeline. But then it's even worse for Trunks because on top of saving his world, right, from the android and living peacefully, people left the Earth after like so many years of the Earth being overrun. Imagine you're trying to rebuild, and only a few years later, there's another big who also requires you back in time to enlist the help of your father and its compatriots. So Trunks had a very rough life in the future.
Yeah.
I definitely understand why he looks like that. And I guess the same, the power, because you look at training. Training is vital to a fighter's strength, even though in training, you're just punching shit and doing push-ups. You're not really like fighting someone, like you never have a trainer unless you're like Goku and Vegeta who spar. But when people are training in the Z universe, it's mostly just like training and fighting and kicking.
Gravity.
And for some reason, that makes you stronger. Not to say that training doesn't make you stronger, but the Dragon Ball Z universe, pretty crazy how much it makes you. Because regular humans train all the time, get like super strong. But I think training is so important, guys, because it's literally the difference between you keeping your strength and you. Obviously, Allah Gohan in the Resurrection of F movie, and I guess the brief storyline from Super that carried on. So we can see how not training for you drastically reduces your power level to be like nothing to where you're like fodder. And I think with Trunks, he hadn't been training. He was still fighting foes, but he hadn't been training. So he only kept the Super Saiyan 2 power throughout all these years. I think he probably got stronger, a bit. Maybe he unlocked the Master Super Saiyan eventually, but he never got 2. And I think it's purely because he doesn't have time to train that hard in order to ascend.
Yeah. I mean, and then you get like, what's this? When they fused, they were Go tanks, and yet they were able to crack Super Saiyan 3, and it's just like, how?
Exactly.
How are these kids able to crack it before like Gohan and Trunks and just?
And that's the weird thing because, all real talk, like I think I won't lie, there is precedent behind, quite old in fact, because in Dragon Ball Z, Episode 1, right? Episode 1 is spooky Dragon Ball animation stuff. It was very rounded and one. In Episode 1, Vegeta and Nappa, they're on a different planet, but they've already gotten word that Raditz is dead. So they're gonna go to Earth. And Vegeta mentions in that scene when we first see him, he still has like red hair. It's an animation era. because that was the first time he was colored in for anime. This would have been like 1989. Was a good one. So even back then, they did mention that Earth is a very special species because whatever offering that they have with the Saiyans would grow to be powerful opponents and warriors. So it was mentioned. The thing is, as much as it was mentioned back then, all they do is mention it. They don't really explain why. They don't explain the biology behind it. All we're told is that they're stronger. These hybrids, they're stronger. Saiyan hybrids, they're stronger. And that's literally all we're told. So it still doesn't really answer anything.
Because isn't Gohan one of them? When you think about it, because Goku and Chi-Chi just...
No, Gohan is... There are 4 mixed races. That's Gohan, Trunks, Goten, and Pan, and Beulah. But she's not really born, or now she is at the end of Super. So there's 5 Saiyans mixed. But only one of them really ever has it of showcasing his quite honestly scary latent potential. But then again, Gohan was enhanced twice. We should also stick that. That is also important to mention because it was first, and so he first has had his potential unlocked by Guru on Namek, and that one, even though it wasn't a huge potential unlock, it did raise his power from like 1,400 to like 30,000. So it was it was kind of a big power for him. And then of course, then his power keeps growing because it was like a gradual thing. And then at the end of the Frieza saga and Saiyan saga and whatnot, his power level is like 45. Goku comes back, they train for the androids. They're in the time chamber. Gohan unlocks 1, probably a few million by now. But Gohan is the only person who's had his he's the only mixed race Saiyan who's had his potential unlocked twice, and because of that, he's really able to into the depths of his power. Because he was also unlocked in the Buu arc.
Yeah.
When the Elder Kai unlocked his latent potential, which would again him reach or discover the ultimate form that he has. And then, of course, in the movie, Dragon Ball superhero with the androids, he is also again put his limits, and he now has a power that is stated in canon to be now stronger than Goku, stronger than Vegeta, stronger than Broly, stronger than Thingy, stronger than Jiren.
Stronger than Broly.
So now,
but Broly is like legendary Super Saiyan, so that's...
The thing is, Redcon Broly, he's not weaker per se. He's actually much stronger than his, first iteration. Everyone's so much stronger now. Great. So the Broly we saw, Dragon Ball Super Broly, is leagues way weaker than the Broly we see briefly in the Dragon Ball Super movie with the androids and Gohan. Even the Broly we see, much stronger than he was. But even that Goku and Vegeta are now stronger than they were. And they're also now Broly. So the power creep of Dragon Ball, because in the Broly movie, Goku and Vegeta were again fighting Broly quite well, and Broly himself was holding him. He was holding his own against 2 Super Saiyan gods. But obviously Broly got stronger and he caught up, so then that's fused. They were never going to beat Broly individually. Like separately, they were never going to. They never. Like Not in a million years. Not with all the ass pull power ups and transformations that you could think of. They were never going to be. But now they are individually stronger than Broly. As of the Granola arc, and with the arrival of Blackfried, they're stronger than Broly. They were, up until the introduction of Black Frieza, which is another crazy thing, the strongest people in the universe. It was them. There's another character named Gas. So in the newest arc, and then of course, I guess. See, the thing is with Beerus. Beerus is definitely, he's been over the place. Power scaling. In the beginning of Super, we were told that he only used about 50% power against Goku. Terrified. But obviously Goku has gotten thousands of times stronger since then, which should be stronger than Beerus as well, but the case. I feel like they're right Beerus to be slightly stronger than everyone, besides the Angels, to keep him as that God of Destruction badass level, because it kind of has God of Destruction to be weaker than mortals. So I feel like they've constantly written him to be once again stronger than Goku, Vegeta, because these characters have been years. Like during I think maybe they should have been stronger than Beerus. They reached gods, but they still weren't. But right now, the strongest characters are Black Frieza, Gohan, Goku, Vegeta, and then Broly. But the scaling is just so weird.
Yeah, it changes depending on. Let's just say it changes depending on whoever's writing the story, basically.
And that's the thing, because they have like. So I guess can't make up it.
Yeah. We can't really say for certain, like, hey, this is, how strong someone certainly is, because in the next film it could... Hey, by the way, I still need to see that movie, man. That Dragon Ball Superhero, I still need to check that out. Yeah.
It's... I think it's out like dub, American voice actors. But it's nice. It was definitely, it was welcome. It was definitely welcomed.
Yeah.
Because we hadn't seen Gohan nor Piccolo get the respect they deserve since the Cell arc and Buu arc respectively. Piccolo shone when he merged Kami, and now Gohan will shine first time since the Cell arc.
Yeah. It's nice it's nice seeing other characters get the shine every now and then. It can't always boil down to Goku and Vegeta.
Yeah. They can't always be save the day.
Yeah. Then it just gets repetitive, man.
Exactly.
I loved how in the Tournament of Champions, the guy who won it all was Android 18. I think that's his name. Is he 18 or 19? Is he Android 18 or 19? Because I always get the numbers wrong.
He's 17.
Oh, shit.
Twin sister.
Oh, yeah. 18's a twin sister. Shit. Okay, he's 17. I'm glad that he got the rub. I was like, yo, because the thing is, I'm watching this thing, and the whole time I'm just thinking somehow this is all gonna boil down to just Goku and Jiren, because they're the two strongest characters in this whole thing. It only makes sense. But then Goku gets eliminated. I'm like, what the fuck? Did they just lose? But then no, we still got one dude left in the fight, man. And it was like, yes. Oh, man, it was so good. Shit. Man, it's nice. That's some solid writing on that show, dog.
Exactly.
The MCU's writing has been wishy-washy, to say the least,
Definitely.
You worried for Secret Invasion?
think it's best to start with the trailer and see how you feel about it. How do you feel about the trailer?
How do I feel about the trailer? I'm actually like, this shit has me pumped for all the spy shit going down. Because I like spy movies. You're Bourne, Bond, Kingsman. But you throw in Skrulls in there, it's like, damn. That paranoia of anybody could be a Skrull, Like, who do you trust? Yeah. And plus, it's Nick Fury, man. We haven't really had a chance for Nick Fury to shine. The close he got was in Captain Marvel, man. And that was years ago.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was years ago now. Damn. 2019 was a while.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, time was flying. But yeah, you're right. You're right. There are some interesting elements. I think for me, the most interesting aspect of the trailer is the fact that one, Maria Hill is back. And of course she's saying that, I've been trying to call you, and you haven't really answered. You kind of let calls go to voice. Why now? So immediately off the gate, it seems like
this is big.
Yeah. Not just that, but it seems like they wanna confirm in that Nick Fury been gone since Winter Soldier. And that what we see in Age of Ultron. And again, it's mostly because of Captain Marvel. It's mostly because of what Captain Marvel did.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to that movie, Age of Ultron, again, 2015, very important, 2015. You have Nick, the kid, the Avengers, but he's kind of like a mentor type of character. And then he's also kind of like in and out the shadows. I guess he has some means of what you don't know. But when he's inside Ken's house, he cuts a dag.
Yeah.
And then
in Captain Marvel, he's like, I can't eat a sandwich that's cut diagonally. Like that's how that ain't me. So, shit.
So now it's just like, hey, so does that mean it was Talos?
Yeah.
And that, how much does of Tony Avengers? My thing is, how do you motivate a group of people who you just met now, but you're acting like
you've known them all this time? Yeah.
Mental, But Nick Fury is, he is the one who kind of insults the Avengers back into shape. He kind of, he kind of puts him, like back into shape. Like, you're the Avengers. You're a team.
Get back out there. That football coach mentality. Yeah.
Exactly. So I don't know how Talos could do that, but also not. I don't know. It depends how hard you think it is. People a pep talk who you don't know again. But again, you're acting like someone there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just think that the heart and the heartfeltness of Fury speaking to Tony in the barn, speaking to the Avengers in Clint's kitchen, it should be true Fury for it not to be him. He seems way too fatherly, way too, mentally, or for it to be Talos. I just think, in my opinion,
And then you get in Far From Home, he was practically yelling at Peter Parker, like, clearly you're not ready for this. Like, bro, what happened?
Now, better, and I also think, because the Talos reveal came kind of, I do think that it give us some clues, just based on Nick's, the way he acted. Because you also had that moment where Peter's and I think he's already in the UK. And this, oh no, they're in Paris. comes to him at night, and then they go to the bridge. But
yeah.
what did he say to him?
No, it was, like he
When-
tranked Ned, and they
like,
were talking.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, "Where's Thor? Where's this?" And then he says, "Where's Captain Marvel?" It doesn't say off-world or another galaxy, but he says don't invoke her name. Now, for me, that seems like something Talos would say.
Because the
Then
Skrulls hold her in this high regard, yeah. Because, like, she saved them. Yeah.
Like, she saves their race, pretty much. Not their entire race, since a lot of them are evil, and a lot of them are still out there in the universe, like, separated. But he definitely saved their family. I would assume that he would be extremely and grateful and respected. So when you said, like, oh, name, I was like, that's...
Yeah.
So even with the character he got, even with the Nick character of Rome, it definitely felt like a Nick who was unprepared, which is the Nick. So I do think the Age of Ultron Nick was unique because it was just very caring. He was very caring and just understanding of the Avenger failure. He didn't blame for it. He didn't say, "Well, yeah, you guys, I do better and I want to do better in our radio, whatever." It was the same Nick we saw in the Avengers who motivated them to fight Loki.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know it's a popular fan theory, but I'm personally holding just to be like that actually. And that line was like, I guess, a great coincidence.
Yeah.
Considering that he a diagonally cut sandwich in another in. So now apparently it's not him. Because again, it is retroactive, right? So they can easily say that because the sandwich was cut.
Yeah. Plus, there was something to lend credence to the idea that in Age of Ultron it might have been Talos, because there was a line where he talks to the Avengers and he's like, "So here we are back on Earth," and that really bugged me because wait, why would you say that? Why would you be like, "Here we are back on Earth"? When did you leave? What's going on here? Fury wouldn't say that. What reason would he have to say that? But Talos could say that because
He did the thing.
it's not from Earth. Yeah.
There's also the possibility. I don't think Talos is that dumb. I don't think he's that dumb to stop that so surprisingly in conversation. What I think, again, why would a person who's not on Earth saying, "So here we are back on," they're not aliens, so why would you say that? They're Earthlings. Doesn't make sense for you to say, "Here we are back on Earth." What I think with that line, I just think it's a little Easter egg that Nick has been having some, he has been having some space travels. He has done some intergalactic shit.
Explains
the
yeah.
I think it was Agents of Shield. Even then, of course, he had appeared initially on the series, as well as Resurrect, Coulson. Because even Project Heat, that's Kree tech, and obviously back then we hadn't made the connection that Nick was directly affiliated with intergalactic people, but clearly he was in a Kree, whatchamacallit, he managed to get it not only on Earth, then S.H.I.E.L.D. So, where he got that, the answer should be looking into the stars.
Yeah.
I don't think a black market, arms dealer will have Kree tech. Not in 2012, at least. Not 2012.
Yeah.
So clearly they would have gotten some things off-world with the help of Carol and whatnot. But then again, what it also could be is that he's probably referencing the battle. But even with that, it's really hard to piece that because, the battle was earthbound, but the enemies did come from space. So, I don't know. it's definitely a weird line. It's a weird, and obviously at that point, I don't think they thought about Skrulls from a storytelling perspective. I think Feige already has Skrulls in his mind, because it's Kevin Feige. He plans it way ahead for the ship. But I think storytelling-wise, Skrulls were nowhere in the in the pipeline. So I don't know why. I don't know what reason he would have had to say that.
Yeah. There's definitely some weird things in the past of the MCU. Yeah.
Exactly.
Although,
I think just look,
yeah. You were saying?
Just like looking at Nick. When I look at Nick, and there's also Talos Nick, I see two types of Nicks. The one Nick was Talos. He's kind of a pretend as he goes, because he doesn't know fully. He doesn't fully know what Fury would do in this moment. He's just winging it. He's there to keep appearances, to be like, okay, here's Nick. He was spotted in Germany 40 minutes ago. He's just there to keep appearances. He's not really supposed to do shit.
Yeah.
But when I look at the real, I see a man with a plan, a man who knows how everything should happen, and if people don't know what should happen, he's there to kind of help them. Obviously, there was a point where Nick kind of pulled up his socks, metaphorically speaking, in Far From Home, because he helps Peter with the drones and like that. But it also took him a long time to catch on.
Yeah.
So for me, I would put the character of Skrull Nick who's very unprepared, and definitely one who is not a stranger to winning in certain situations.
Plus,
and when I look at Ultron Nick,
yeah.
I just don't see that person who's winging it, who doesn't know what to say or to do and whatnot. I just see Age of Ultron Nick within his retirement, who just popped out to whip his kids into shape. Like, that's who I see that Nick. I would think that maybe after that he went to space, because he didn't really have much to do on Earth at that point, because S.H.I.E.L.D. was gone, or rather, the public S.H.I.E.L.D. was gone. Mostly the covert one that's the one in the series and the one in Far From Home.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just.
But then Sword became a thing, so. Yeah. So it raised the question, like, is that what he's doing? Because Sword in the comics does do space stuff, so, like.
I mean, I don't know. In Sword, you've seen quite a bit of them, albeit that was kind of a radicalized faction.
Yeah.
Operated by
it was like one platoon responding to a situation, not the whole, organization.
Exactly. I mean, we do know that clearly not even during, but after the events of Captain Marvel, Maria she probably did have a lot of back and forth with S.H.I.E.L.D. over, because obviously what that led to, of course, what that led to was the creation with, of course, Maria being a chief founder. I don't really know how old Sword, that they never really say, but given how Maria still has her hairstyle from the 90s in that one headshot of hers, I would say that maybe it was probably in the 90s. Not like directly after the movie, because Captain Marvel is 95, maybe like 97, 98, maybe. But clearly it seems to me that the sword that Maria left behind is not the same sword that was being run by Hayward.
Yeah.
It's not the same.
Same thing with
And
Shield.
not
I mean,
exactly, and not just from a leadership standpoint, but also from a organizational standpoint. Not to say.
yeah, it's definitely, it shows, you know, with the way they handled the whole thing about Wanda and Westview, and I still don't really jive with that. Like people, dude, do you remember that scene where like Monica, I think, is talking to Wanda, and she says they'll never know what you sacrificed for them. I'm like, fuck this. They'll know what you sacrificed. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Because all she sacrificed were the things that she selfishly did. So what? You're sacrificing things you selfishly did. I don't know. That's bad too.
Dude, that show, man. Just see so many people coming to her defense. Like, when you try to be like, nah, dude, she's the villain. She kidnapped the whole ass town. Like, people jump to her defense, like, no, she was grieving. And, you know, it was the real villain in all this was grief. You know, she was being manipulated by Agatha, too. Like, nah, man. I mean, yes, that was happening, but still. Dude, still. She still started all this. Like,
Exactly.
yeah. And that shit just got worse in Multiverse of Madness. Like, way, way worse. Like, there was no arguing at that point that she was just grief stricken. Like, no, this is intentional. This is, like, this is murder. She commits murder throughout that movie. Like, and
Yep.
in the third act, she's still like, I'm not a monster. Like, you killed a bunch of people. You burned a guy to death. Like, dude. Oh, shit.
Wouldn't they be criminal? Huh?
Who?
Or shouldn't they be? They should really be criminal charges.
Yeah. There should very definitely be criminal charges. I mean, if she was still alive, but like, yeah.
I mean, she ain't dead.
I mean, we didn't see a body, but like,
A big boulder or not all. I mean, it was enough to kill Monica. Weird. Or maybe subdue her. Who? But I don't know. A big.
that was a pretty big ass boulder, man. Just.
Here's my confusion with Wanda. Remember when one was like, "Oh, Wanda's a clock. She's a character who's not strong enough." Remember when they were saying that?
Mm-hmm.
They were saying that, like, because again, it's the scene where Wanda was. It's when she was pulling apart Thanos, and he rained fire. The blast just made her flip 10,000 times, and then she knocked herself out on a rock. So Wanda's a glass cannon, from what we last saw of her back then. But modern day Wanda is a tank, you know, because she's out here like. She's pulling herself out of errors and contorting her body. She has like this weird goblin demon mode where she just kind of contorts and she's very monster-like. So I don't think she's purely just human anymore. You know, just a human with soul. I think she definitely has a layer of not strength per se. She has a level of imperviousness now. That I mean, not even just think, we know that she didn't have this in the past. You know? So, I don't know, how durable is she? Again, she was taking hits from Monica, she was taking hits from Captain Britain, Captain Carter. So, I don't know, she's quite durable now.
Well, to be fair, to really be fair, that Wanda wasn't taking the hits. It was 838 Wanda who was taking the hits. So,
But also, it was 8-3 Wanda with Wanda magic forcing through her body.
yeah.
Because 838 Wanda read, she would not. She probably doesn't even know how to turn a person into string cheese level. I would say the 8 Wanda is probably around Infinity War level.
Yeah.
Because it seems like she hasn't had any emotional things happen to her.
Because she has kids, which means, you know, her and Vision shacked up and everything was good.
You see, the problem is, where is Vision in 838? And who's the father of Wanda's kids in 838?
I don't know.
Because Vision never even, Thanos. 838 Thanos.
He never made it to Earth. Yeah.
So no one killed Vision. So where is Vision? Clearly, all it comes down to, and literally the only reason, like there's no point in keeping this or whatever. Purely all it is that Paul Bettany could not find time to shoot the movie. That's literally all it is.
Yeah.
Because it wouldn't have disjointed the story any further to have a Vision fight one, to have some Wandavision connection.
Not even that. Just like have him like in the background or something. Like have when the kids are in the background calling Wanda, have him be one of the voices saying Wanda. Yeah.
Exactly. You don't have him. I'm not saying put him in the 8v8 universe from what we know. Like, I'm not saying have him in or have us see him on the street, or have us see him when he's fighting Sinister Strange or whatever. But in the scenes where we have the WandaVision children plus 838 Wanda, literally Vision. Because if anything, Vision would have had like a few minutes of screen, just a few,
or at least a photo or something.
What we need is Paul Bettany in that makeup. A couple of post-production touch-ups, because again, the way that we see Vision in the movies and in WandaVision, it's not purely just makeup, it's all CGI.
Yeah.
Real Paul Bettany behind the scenes, the Vision suit and makeup isn't as seamless. So just a couple of post-production touch-ups. Don't have him fly. Have him scold 616 Wanda. Do something. But ultimately have him be weak and powerless against her since she's so powerful. But just have him be there. At least have him, and here's the thing, at least have him be like a moral compass of Wanda. Have him talk to Wanda. Have him talk Wanda.
Plus,
version of it.
Yeah, it would show the differences between the two Wandas, because the reason 616 Wanda is so corrupt is because she lost her vision, and it shows the reason 838 is so good is because she still has vision. So, yeah.
But then not on the movie. They only seem to mean that since she has her kids, she's not crazy, but the entire crux of vision dealing with the mourning, and then she created house and family, and then she saved the town. But I just don't understand throw Vision out of the window currently, especially when they would have needed. Because I remember fans were also like, why is it that Wanda has to talk herself out of this crazed mania state she's in. Because no one can truly walk her out, because it's the Darkhold. The Darkhold has her under control. But come on, you could at least have Clint take a shot. Because we know how Clint is to Wanda. I'm so surprised that they made some key players. You didn't have Clint in Wandavision. You didn't have Clint in M. You didn't have White Vision in MOM. You didn't have Red Vision, especially when you could have, given it another goddamn universe. But they wasted so many good opportunities to the story a bit padded. A bit more padded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I remember you earlier saying, we were talking about She-Hulk, and you were like, I'm not gonna disregard a show just because, a character didn't show up. And yet here we are talking about Multiverse of Madness, and it's like, well, they didn't have this character, they didn't have this character.
Certain characters, it kind of speaks to whether or not that show should even have happened, given that these characters who could potentially pop. With She-Hulk, it's more because we don't need characters who aren't that important to the story, and then those characters don't show up. That's fine. But when it comes to Wandavision, certain characters not being there breaks the continuity, because MOM seemingly picks up directly from Wandavision, because the movie is literally about Wanda finding her kids, right? That's, if we step aside the bullshit, a strange movie and timelines, it's just Wanda finding her kids. But then you also have many issues with that, because the way that the movie was about Wanda finding her kids breaks the previous show. Because in the previous show, her kids are calling out for help, indicating that they exist somewhere in the multiverse, but wherever they are, they're in danger. And MOM picks up, and you never get any. They never pay off her kids being in trouble at all. They never do, and that's the first big issue, because it kind of breaks everything that we had thought. Everyone thought from Wandavision ending, okay, so her kids are real some way, multiverse. Okay, why are they in danger? Oh, I know. First, okay, so when do you want to see them? Well, it was announced now that Doctor Strange and the Multiverse is going to be a Wanda. Is going to be a movie with Wanda as a villain. And from that, we also extract that potentially that movie deals with Wanda finding her kids and maybe Mephisto and the multiverse somehow. None of us knew how the multiverse connects to Doctor Strange, but we all knew how it would connect to Wanda. But for them to not pay off, it's literally removing a Scrabble from the bottom tower and having the entire tower fall over. That's literally what it is.
Yeah. Plus, we never really get that payoff to that question that Strange kept asking. People kept asking Strange, Strange, are you happy? And he was like, yeah, sure. And even, Evil Strange asked him, are you happy? We never really get a proper answer. It just rushes to the end, and he's like, I'm happy. Never really get
also,
it.
I think I can appreciate the fact that the only reason why that's asking him that was because he knew deep down that he wasn't happy. Because I think as much as that is an evil version of Strange, it's still Stephen Strange. They still have the same feelings and same mind. It's just that one is an evil person, right?
he knows deep down that us as Steven, we aren't happy. And why aren't we happy? Because Christine isn't in our lives. That's the one takeaway. The other takeaway is that this is a movie about acceptance. You know, it's Wanda accept that her kids are gone, and that her kids are never real, but they're gone. They were there for a minute and they were gone. And it's Wanda having to deal with that, comes down to that. And then it's Steven ending wedding. But of course, Vinny wedding, when Christine's wedding. And then it's him having to jump with the fact that he's not truly happy, or that he hasn't truly using Christine, even with his Avengers status and whatnots. A lot of that movie is accept. For Steven, it's accept he's gone. And accepting that he has to. And what that end was him telling Christine that he lost. I love you in every universe. And then it's only after him that things kind of changed, where he finally starts in, of course, yeah, because Clea is one of his many love interests. Ironically, Wanda being another one of them, but that's story for another day.
Yeah.
But now he has Clea, and obviously they don't know each other. In the post credits, they don't know each other, but they're, I think, not even I think, they're setting up their romance, and it's only because Strange finally that he could not be with Christine, because he was so in denial. Like, he was, imagine bargaining with a freshly married woman at her wedding or at the bar, that you can still change. You know,
it's kind of. I'm just watching, like, dude, it's kind of late. I mean,
it's very late. Like, it's late, and it's just, what are you doing? It's a reception, man. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Like, what? I would punch someone who is out here telling my now wife that just give us another chance. What the hell?
Like, man, get the fuck out of here. Just, dude.
Yeah. No, that wasn't his best moment. Definitely.
Nah, you know what I would definitely punch someone, like, without a doubt, I would run down the aisle and punch the dude if at that point where the priest is like, does anybody have any objections? And someone shoots up. It's like, dude.
That would have been something. But clearly, I don't think the groom wasn't too offended, given that he's actually a huge Doctor Strange fan.
Yeah, that makes it weirder, though. Just.
Yeah, it's quite weird. Like, you're an adult, but you're a fan. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Because, you know, adults like real adults. They like what? Bruce Willis's. You know, we have real life badasses that adults and like, we have actual characters in fiction who adults like. But it's kind of weird to kind of realize that would have to be the same even in that adult men we fan these heroes, but they're actual heroes.
Yeah.
But I get it.
It's weird that also, yeah, the Avengers are a big deal. They save the world and all that. But I find it weird that throughout this entire movie, like, I think I also noticed this in She-Hulk. Like, in Multiverse of Madness, literally one chick with a camera walks up to Strange and, you know, Chavez and them while they're sitting in that diner. It's like, you mind if I take a picture? Like, one person in that whole diner. Are you serious? Like, just one person was like, hey, can I get a picture with Doctor Strange? Like, dude.
But I kind of get it.
Yeah.
Because looking at people in, been accustomed to shit for like nearly 15 years now. And that's a long time. Look how quickly you got accustomed to life in the pandemic. Life in the pandemic was like pretty... Dude, we were wearing masks. Like, you know how weird that is? We wore masks every time. For 2 years. For 2 years we wore masks. But we got used to it, didn't we? And it was only 2 years. But the entire world, even like the most slummiest of slums, the entire world got the memo and followed suit. I remember I used to see people like Guamash, when I say Nanda, who didn't buy masks. They just wrapped shit they had on their face. But like the whole world felt pretty weird. Because not only is it white, but black impoverished areas. Like everyone is following suit. Everyone is doing the exact same thing.
Not in the US, they ain't, but yeah.
That only took 2 years for us to... In fact, not even 2 years, because the mask period was like a few weeks where we had preparation. You'd be like, in this amount of time, you have... Like there's no... This isn't a discussion you have. That was a few weeks. It was a few weeks, we hated it. And then we just got used to it. We just got used to it. We got used to the pandemic. We got used to masks. We got used to sanitizing. We got used to keeping a mask and your house when you go out. But the point is, we got used to it.
Yeah.
And that's a pandemic. Now, in the Marvel world, if there have been superheroes and aliens and crazy things happening for 15 years, my God, I would also be used to it. Because why the hell should I be scared? It's a regular part of my existence. I mean, granted, we did have one of the most devastating examples of that alien interference with Thanos. I would assume Thanos, they're just desensitized and they don't care. Whatever.
Yeah, everybody's back, We're good now.
Yeah.
But
so it's just...
There was this shot of New York. Like, we didn't see any dude, it was exactly like it wasn't a pandemic, because it showed in Endgame. It was showing like, okay, the title card came up 5 years later, and you see like the streets were like barren, stadiums were empty, and that's just like us. Like, fuck, dude. Like, New York looked deserted. The same thing.
Yeah,
with,
it was.
Yeah.
It was, and it's so weird. It was before the pandemic, but it kind of mimicked what the pandemic looked like.
Yeah.